Alrighty, what's going on, Anthony? Apologies for getting this video out to you late. I know this has been a few weeks ago. Obviously, you've heard kind of how busy I've been over these past few weeks. So finally getting time to go over these videos and really compare your mechanics versus Max Scherzer's on the bottom there. And really talk about the things that we want to continue to work on pitching wise. And as we continue to go forward, what we're going to continue to work on. So I'm going to let these two play both side by side, and we'll get to taking an analysis on them. All right, so let's first start off, obviously, with your load here, right? If you notice, right, take a look at Max Scherzer real quick with his leg, right? So when his leg is coming up, right, his glove is at this point too, right? Notice, right, our leg, instead of being like that, should be more like this, right? I know it's kind of hard to draw it with lines, but essentially we want to bring this leg up and we want to bend then. So if I were to really draw it here on the side, how it would be like this, okay? So that's how we would want to look from the side, right? So we really want to bring that front leg up and really load into our hips, right? So that's obviously the first thing. Obviously, in this video, we're going to really go over the very vanilla basics. We're not really going to get into a ton in this video. Obviously, this video, Anthony, for your knowledge, is really to kind of take a look at what you're doing right now and compare that and build it into your pitching arsenal, right, that we could continue to work on. So that's the first thing, right? Second thing, whenever we're thinking about how he loads, right, take a look at what his glove does, right? If you remember what we talked about with prayer hands to butterfly wings to bear, right? Now, Scherzer gets to a bear a little bit different than a lot of people. This is what we also like to call right here the power W, okay? I won't go into it too much because obviously there's a lot to really talk about. But just know that someday whenever we talk about power W, this is what it looks like, okay? So whenever then he's going into his drive, right? Take a look at when he gets here. Everything's connected, and this is where he's starting to break off into, right? Notice with you really are taking your backhand first, right? And you're keeping your glove right there, and then you're getting right here, whereas your glove should realistically be like this, right? Versus how Scherzer's is just like that, right? So then whenever we take a look at, obviously Scherzer gets to this point here, notice strong front side, strong back side, right? Then we get into this point right here, right? Which, if you notice, his hips are beginning to open up, right? This is what we like to call hip-shoulder separation, right? So his hips are starting to open up, which is allowing him to transfer his energy that he's built up from potential into kinetic, right? So with that being said, right, then we take a look at your mechanics, right? First of all, I love that we're above our shoulder right here, right? That's exactly what we want to be. However, I want this arm or this glove to really be like this, right? So realistically, we'll continue to work on getting that front hand strong, right? So we want to take that up, right? Additionally, take a look at where Scherzer's front leg's going, right? Take a look right here and his. Notice his is going towards the plate, right? Versus ours is kind of going away like this, right? And if we think about it kind of, if I were to clear everything here, if I were to draw a little bow and arrow, right? Let's just say this is our little bow and arrow, right? Whichever way that bow is pointed is the way my arrow is going to go, right? So same thing here. If your arm is the arrow and this is your bow, right? And you're going right this way, right? And your bow is facing this way, well, that arrow has to go that way, right? So that's one thing I want you to think about as well. Additionally, take a look at where your hips are going, right? Your hips are leading you to the left, right? And before we can even get landed, right, take a look at where your hips are here. Your hips are already opened up, right? Take a look at Scherzer's. Scherzer's foot just lands there, right? And if you notice, his hips are closed, right? So that's another thing, right, to continue to work on. And then finally with his finish, right, take a look where Scherzer finishes, right? And notice whenever he finishes, his chest is down like this. And whenever you finish, your chest is up like this, right? So in reality, if I were to draw on your shirt, Anthony, a logo, let's just say, for example, it's just like this little Oregon circle, right? That Oregon circle should be pointed down at the mound, right? So whenever you're finishing here, you should be more so finished like this, right? Kind of like how Scherzer is right there, okay? So I know that's a lot to kind of take in and to really see, but obviously I don't really want to go into it full depth, obviously, because we really want to focus first on the very, 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 very basics when it comes to pitching, and then we can go into depth, right? I think that's kind of the correct plan for you and the correct approach. So obviously take a few of those notes, and then the next time that we work on pitching, we'll really dive into that and really figure out, number one, how to get our body to feel that way, but number two, also, how to effectively get ourselves into that position. But until next time, man, continue to keep grinding.